The alarms echoed through the alien capital as if the sky itself was warning everyone. Bright red lights flashed across the marble streets while crowds stepped back in fear. In the center of it all stood Mara Dalen, a calm human woman with silver brown hair and tired eyes. She did not understand why she was surrounded by alien guards, but she knew something was terribly wrong. The guards spoke fast in their own language, almost too nervous to look at her. The leader, a tall figure with glowing blue lines on his armor, finally announced that Mara was under arrest for sabotaging a peace treaty. The words hit the air like a cold blade. Mara blinked, confused because she had never even seen the treaty. She had no idea what they were talking about. She lifted her hands slowly and said she was innocent, but her voice was swallowed by the noise of the crowd. People whispered around her. They all knew who her son was, Rylan Dalen, the strongest human soldier in the galactic forces. Many aliens feared him. Some respected him. Some envied him. But everyone knew one thing. If the council truly arrested his mother, something big was about to happen. The guards quickly escorted Mara through the plaza, trying to avoid attention, but it was too late. Dozens of eyes watched as she was taken to a transport shuttle. Even though her hands were bound, Mara walked with a calm and steady step. She told the guards there must be a mistake, that someone could check her records. She asked to speak to a representative. But every guard refused to answer her questions. It was almost as if they had been ordered not to say a single word. Inside the shuttle, Mara stared out the window. The capital looked cold now. The tall towers, glowing with soft blue lights, suddenly felt like prison walls. She wondered where her son was. She wondered if he was safe. She wondered why no one had given her a chance to speak. Her heartbeat remained steady, but her mind raced with questions she could not answer. The shuttle traveled far from the capital, toward a lonely detainment station floating above a quiet moon. The station's commander, an older alien named Sarek, met her with a concerned expression. He studied her for a long moment, then spoke in a softer voice than the guards before him. He told her the council believed she was part of a secret plan to ruin peace between humans and aliens. Mara told him she had never joined any plan. She was just a normal citizen who wanted a simple life. Sarek nodded as if he believed her, but he said he had no power to change anything. The council's orders were final. Mara sat in the small room assigned to her. It had only a narrow bed and a dim light that flickered gently. She took a slow breath, keeping herself calm. She had raised a son who once survived a battlefield with nothing but his will. If she panicked now, she knew it would help no one. All she could do was wait and trust that Rylan would find the truth. Back on the capital world, quiet fear spread through the halls of government. Some council members whispered among themselves, worried about the day Rylan would return from his mission. They tried to hide the entire situation under layers of secret files and restricted reports. Others, the ones who wanted humans weakened, seemed almost pleased. They believed the galaxy would accept the lie if it was told loud enough. But news traveled fast, faster than they expected. Rumors spread across marketplaces, through spaceports, and even into military stations. Whispers of "they arrested Rylan's mother" reached places the council never imagined. Small groups of aliens began to question the official story. Why would a human mother sabotage peace? What reason would she have? Nothing made sense. In the detainment station, Sarek walked past Mara's room and paused. She was sitting calmly, her hands folded, her gaze steady. He wondered how a human could stay so strong in such a situation. He whispered to himself that someone must have set her up. But he did not know who. Mara finally lay down, though she did not sleep. She thought of her son, how he had always been brave even as a child. She remembered the day he joined the galactic forces, the pride in his eyes, the promises he made to protect both humans and aliens. She trusted he would return soon. And she trusted he would not let lies destroy their peace. Far away on a distant frontier moon, Rylan Dalen stood under a star-filled sky as a transmission arrived. His expression changed the moment he read the message. His mother had been convicted. His heartbeat stopped for a moment. Then his eyes hardened with a calm, cold focus. He did not shout. He did not show anger. He simply whispered, "This is wrong." Rylan turned toward his ship, knowing exactly what he needed to do. And the galaxy did not know it yet, but everything was about to change. The military base on the frontier moon slept under a quiet sky when the alert buzzed through the comms. Rylan Dalen stood alone near his ship, staring at the message again as if reading it twice would change the meaning. His mother. Convicted. Taken. Labeled a traitor. The words felt unreal, like a bad dream made of metal and smoke. There was no sound around him except the soft hum of the wind across the barren ground. He did not move at first. He simply breathed once, slow and controlled, the way he had been trained. But beneath his stillness, something sharp and dangerous stirred. He was not the type of soldier who panicked. He was the type who acted. Without calling for permission, Rylan walked straight to his command center. The guard stepped aside as he entered, sensing something in his eyes they had never seen before. Inside, Captain Yura, an alien officer with dark red skin, stood over a table of mission reports. She looked up, puzzled. Rylan? You were supposed to lead the patrol in 10 minutes. He showed her the message without a word. Yura's face shifted from confusion to shock. The message glowed between them, cold and unforgiving. She read it twice, then whispered, "This cannot be right." "I know," Rylan said quietly. Yura lowered the screen and looked at him with worry. "If you leave your post without approval, the council can charge you with desertion." Rylan stared at her, calm and steady. "If I stay, my mother dies under a false charge." Yura opened her mouth to argue, but she stopped. She knew the truth. Rylan was not reckless. If he said something was wrong, it was wrong. She stepped back and nodded faintly. "I never saw you," she said. Rylan gave her a grateful look, then turned and left. He moved through the base with long, determined steps. Soldiers noticed him, their eyes following his motion. Some whispered, some stiffened because they could feel something heavy in the air. Rylan was known for his discipline, his strength, and his ability to stay calm even when chaos burned around him. Seeing him like this, silent, focused, unshakable, made everyone step out of his way. Inside his ship, Rylan powered up the engines. The screens flickered to life, lighting up his face with soft blue glow. He locked a course toward the detainment station orbiting the quiet moon. His jaw tightened when he saw how far it was. The council had hidden his mother far from the eyes of the public. A place where people were forgotten. Not her. Not today. As the ship left the ground and entered open space, Rylan activated a private channel. He needed information. He contacted an old friend in the intelligence division, Lisa, a sharp-minded analyst who always managed to see the truth behind numbers and reports. Her face appeared on the screen, tired but alert. "Rylan? It's late. What's happening?" "They took my mother," he said. Lisa's expression froze. "No, the rumors were real?" She quickly opened files, her eyes darting back and forth. "Rylan, the case against her is strange. There are sealed reports. Missing logs. The timestamps don't match. It looks like someone on the council pushed everything through too fast." "Can you find who did it?" he asked. "Not yet," she whispered. "But I can confirm this wasn't normal procedure." That was all Rylan needed. Before the call ended, Lisa leaned closer to the screen. "Be careful. Someone wants this hidden. And they won't like you digging." Rylan nodded and cut the line. The stars streaked past his ship as he approached the detainment moon. A shadow of worry pressed against his mind, but he forced himself to stay steady. His mother always said fear was a passing wind, strong but temporary. Strength was the mountain behind it. When he landed on the platform outside the station, Commander Sarek was waiting. The older alien looked uneasy, his hands clasped behind his back. "You came sooner than expected," Sarek said. "Where is she?" Rylan asked. Sarek sighed softly. "Rylan, I believe she is innocent. But the council." Rylan stepped closer, his voice still quiet but sharp enough to cut through steel. "I will not let them harm her." Sarek held his gaze. A long moment passed before he lowered his head. "She is in the holding wing. Follow me." As they walked through the narrow halls, dim lights flickering above them, Rylan felt the tension build. Soldiers stepped aside. Some whispered. Word was spreading. The most powerful human soldier had returned, and he was not here for peace. When Sarek finally stopped, he opened a reinforced door. Inside, Mara sat on the edge of the bed, still calm, still strong. When she saw her son, her eyes softened. "Rylan," she whispered. He stepped forward and knelt in front of her, taking her hands gently. "I'm here. I will fix this." Sarek watched them silently, suddenly realizing that the council had made a terrible mistake. Because when someone harmed Rylan's mother, Rylan did not just return. He rose. The detainment station felt colder after Rylan's arrival, as if the metal walls sensed something powerful moving through them. Commander Sarek watched Rylan and Mara from the hallway, feeling a quiet unease growing in his chest. He had served the council for many years, but even he knew something about this case did not fit. Rylan helped his mother stand, making sure she was steady before speaking again. "I will clear your name," he said. "I only need the truth." Mara touched his arm gently. "Rylan, be careful. Someone wanted this to happen. Someone powerful. I know, he answered softly. That's why I have to find them. Sarek guided them into a small briefing room with a long metal table. A dim light flickered above them, giving the room a tense feeling. Rylan sat down, his eyes sharp and focused. Sarek pulled up holographic files, reports, logs, and witness statements. They flickered like blue fire between them. These are the documents the Council released, Sarek said. But half the files are sealed. And half of the open ones look wrong. Rylan leaned forward. Show me the timestamps. Sarek tapped the panel. The logs expanded. Rylan studied them carefully. Some entries were added at the exact same second, all by the same unnamed official. Some statements were copied word for word. A report was signed by a witness who, according to another file, had died months earlier. Rylan's jaw tightened. Mara looked at the files, confused. Why would they fake all this? Who would want to hurt me? Rylan shook his head. This is not about you, Mom. This is about me. Sarek exhaled slowly. There are council members who fear humans are getting too strong. And your son? He looked at Rylan. You are the strongest of them. You have won battles others thought impossible. Some believe you are dangerous. So they use my mother to control me, Rylan said quietly. Cowards. He stood up suddenly, pacing the room as his thoughts sharpened. Someone wanted him off the battlefield. Someone wanted him weakened. Someone believed hurting his mother would break him. They could not have been more wrong. Do you know who forged the files? Rylan asked. Sarek hesitated. I cannot be sure. But there have been whispers. Counselor Thelene has been pushing for limits on human soldiers. He wants humans removed from command positions. Many aliens support him. Rylan stopped walking. His eyes turned cold. Thelene. A high-ranking council member with influence across several sectors. Someone who always hid behind words instead of actions. Someone who hated how humans kept rising in the galaxy. Rylan spoke quietly. He thinks using my mother will make me step back. Sarek looked troubled. Rylan, you cannot confront a counselor directly. They will call it aggression. Then I'll find proof first, Rylan said. Before Sarek could answer, an alarm blared through the station. Red lights flashed across the hallway. A robotic voice rang out. Unauthorized breach detected. Sector 4. Sarek frowned. What? That sector holds the communication hub. Rylan understood instantly. Someone is deleting evidence. He sprinted toward the hallway before Sarek could stop him. Mara called after him, but Rylan's footsteps were already echoing through the long metal corridor. He ran fast, each step powered by fear and anger and determination. Inside Sector 4, a figure cloaked in dark armor stood at the main console, fingers moving fast across the controls. Data streams flickered, vanished, and were replaced by blank files. The figure worked with speed only spies or assassins were trained to use. Rylan did not slow down. He lunged forward, grabbing the intruder by the shoulder and slamming them against the wall. Sparks burst from the console. The intruder hissed through a mask, trying to twist free. You're too late, human. The Council's orders are absolute. Rylan tightened his grip. Whose orders? The masked figure did not answer. Instead, they slammed their elbow into Rylan's chest and activated a small device on their wrist. A flash of bright light burst out, forcing Rylan to cover his eyes. By the time his vision cleared, the intruder was gone. Only a faint smell of burnt circuitry remained. Sarek arrived moments later, breathless. Rylan, are you hurt? No, Rylan said, stepping toward the ruined console. But they deleted everything. Sarek stared at the empty screen. This confirms it. Someone high in the council wants this hidden. Rylan turned toward the door. His voice was calm and steady, but there was a hard edge beneath it. They want a fight. He looked back at Sarek. We will give them the truth instead. Back in the holding room, Mara waited quietly. She trusted her son. She trusted his strength. But even she did not yet know the storm he was walking into. Rylan returned moments later, his steps heavy but determined. Mara looked into his eyes and understood immediately. Something big had happened. He sat beside her and spoke softly. Mom, this is bigger than us. They fear humans. They fear me. And they are willing to lie to protect their power. Mara reached out, her calmness steadying him. Then show them what real strength looks like. Rylan nodded. And the conspiracy once hidden now had a target, him. The alarms rang through the alien tower, but Rowan did not move. He stood in the center of the cold metal chamber, hands tied, face bruised, yet his eyes were steady. The guards shouted for him to kneel, but he stayed standing, like a mountain refusing to fall. No human should have been able to take this much pain, but Rowan was not like others. He was the strongest soldier Earth had trained, and the aliens knew it. That was why they wanted to break him. He had been captured after discovering the truth about his mother's false conviction. The council wanted him silent before he could expose their lies. They wanted him scared, weak, and hopeless. But the more they pressured him, the more he resisted. Every hit, every threat, every attempt to scare him only sharpened his resolve. One guard, a tall creature with blue scales, stepped close and whispered that resistance would only make things worse. Rowan did not answer. He simply turned his head and looked straight into the guard's eyes. The guard stepped back as if he had seen something dangerous inside Rowan, something that could not be controlled. Rowan's body hurt, but his mind was clear. He remembered his mother's voice telling him to be kind, to forgive, to stay calm even when life was unfair. But now, calmness was the only thing keeping him alive. The aliens wanted to see fear, and he refused to give it to them. The council's investigator, a sharp-faced alien named Sareth, entered the chamber and looked at Rowan as if he were a puzzle. She asked him why he kept resisting when the whole galaxy believed the lies about his mother. She asked why he still fought when he had lost everything. Rowan lifted his head and answered in a slow, steady voice. Because truth matters. Because lies must be exposed. Because he was not fighting for revenge, he was fighting for justice. Sareth froze for a moment. It was the first time she had heard a human talk like that. She had always thought humans were emotional and weak, but Rowan showed something different. Something dangerous. She stepped closer and said that his truth would never be heard, because no one would dare challenge the council. But Rowan told her that one voice was enough to start a storm. Even one person could change history. Sareth felt something strange. She had been loyal to the council her entire life, but Rowan's words made her question everything. The guards dragged Rowan to another chamber. This one was darker, colder, designed to crush the spirit of even the strongest warriors. They expected Rowan to collapse within minutes. But he stood tall. He took a slow breath and whispered a promise to himself, that he would not break, not here, not now. Hours passed. Maybe days. He could not tell. The aliens increased the pressure, trying to weaken him. But Rowan kept standing. Whenever he felt his strength fading, he remembered his mother's smile, and that memory pulled him back. One night, Sareth returned. She told the guards to leave, then stood alone in front of Rowan. She had read old files, secret files, things the council hid. She discovered the truth. Rowan's mother had not committed any crime. She was framed because she had discovered corruption inside the council. The council wanted her gone, and they made sure she could not defend herself. Sareth looked at Rowan, her voice shaking. She told him she believed him now. She said she wanted to help, but helping him meant betraying everything she had ever known. The council did not forgive betrayal. Rowan told her that everyone had a choice. Some choices were hard, but they still mattered. Sareth looked at him for a long moment, then made her decision. She cut the bindings around his wrists. Rowan fell to his knees from exhaustion, but Sareth helped him stand. She told him there was still time. If they moved fast, they could expose the council's lies before they erased the evidence. She said she knew the way out and that she would guide him. For the first time since his capture, Rowan felt hope. He thanked her, and together they slipped into the dark hallway. The guards were sleeping. The lights were dim. The station was quiet. But Rowan knew the real fight was coming. He had endured everything. He had kept his mind strong. He had refused to break. Now the galaxy would learn what a human could do when truth was on his side. And Rowan was ready. The alarms began before Rowan and Sareth even reached the main hall. Red lights flashed against the walls, and the whole station shook as if the metal itself knew something impossible was happening. The most feared human soldier in the galaxy had escaped, and the council was terrified. But Rowan did not slow down. His steps were weak, his body hurt, but his spirit was stronger than ever. Sareth guided him through narrow corridors, whispering directions. She knew the council would soon block every path, but there was one place they needed to reach, the archive core. It held the real evidence, the files that could prove Rowan's mother was innocent. If they could broadcast those files to the galaxy, everything would change. But the council knew that too. 3 guards blocked the main path, their weapons glowing bright. Sareth stepped forward as if she would talk, but Rowan gently moved her back. He did not raise his fists. He did not grab a weapon. He simply stood tall, breathing slowly, watching the guards with calm eyes. They hesitated. They knew Rowan had no weapon, yet something about him made them step back. Humans were strange, unpredictable, and somehow stronger than they looked. That moment of hesitation was enough for Rowan and Sareth to slip past them and continue deeper into the station. When they reached the archive core, Sareth opened the door with her security card. Inside, thousands of glowing data crystals floated in clear tubes. The center platform was shaped like a star, and Rowan knew this was the place where truth could shine brighter than lies. Sareth rushed to a console and began searching for the hidden files. Rowan kept watch, knowing they had only minutes. He heard heavy footsteps approaching. The council was coming. Then Sareth found it. The files. His mother's case. The proof of the council's lies. The recordings. The signatures. Everything. She placed the data into the broadcast tower and activated the signal. A deep hum filled the room as the information shot into space, moving faster than light, reaching every colony, every station, every world. The truth was now free. That was when the council entered. Their leader, a tall alien named Velrin, stepped forward with cold eyes. He looked at Sareth with betrayal and at Rowan with anger. He said Rowan had destroyed years of work. He said no one would believe a human story. Rowan did not answer. Instead, he calmly told Velrin that the galaxy would choose the truth over fear. Velrin shouted that humans were dangerous and must be controlled. Rowan replied that humans were strong because they believed in hope, not power. Velrin raised his weapon to fire. Sareth jumped in front of Rowan. The shot never came. Because the guards lowered their weapons. The broadcast had reached them too. They had seen the truth. They had learned that the council had killed an innocent woman and tried to silence her son. They looked at Velrin with shock, betrayal, and anger. No one wanted to follow a leader who built his empire on lies. Velrin tried to run, but the guards surrounded him. Sareth turned to Rowan, breath shaking. For the first time she realized something. The galaxy would never be the same again. And it was because one human refused to break. Outside the station the response was immediate. Some alien worlds demanded new trials. Others started protests. Some sent messages of apology to humans. A few even asked Earth for guidance. The galaxy was waking up. Rowan stood quietly as the guards escorted Velrin away. He felt no joy, only a calm relief. His mother's name was clean again. Her story was no longer hidden. Sareth asked him what he planned to do now. Rowan smiled softly and said he would return to Earth. He wanted to visit his mother's resting place. He wanted to tell people that the truth had finally won. But before he left, Sareth told him something important, that he had changed more than a case. He had changed how aliens saw humans. They had feared humans once. Now they respected them. They saw their strength not in weapons but in loyalty, courage, and the will to fight for what was right. Rowan did not see himself as a hero. He saw himself as a son who kept his promise. But the galaxy knew him as something else. A human who stood without fear. A human who fought without hate. A human who changed everything. When Rowan finally boarded a human ship, the stars looked different. Brighter, clearer, almost peaceful. For the first time in a long time he felt free. And the galaxy, shaken awake by one human's courage, would never forget his name.